active since about 2007 within the movement. When I found out about Ron Paul, actually I started before I found out about Ron Paul, but once I found out about him, I really, my eyes were open. And you know, once your eyes are open and you unplug, there's no going back. And actually that can be pretty isolating, because if you're alone in your family or at work or in your community, knowing what we know, you know, people in our movement, it's sometimes lonely, because you know it takes a while to bring other people on board. You have to be patient with them, and you have to kind of help them through it, because everyone goes through cognitive dissonance unless they're raised in it, and most of us weren't. So you know, that's one of the reasons why I really want to have this festival, is because I believe that it's a way for people who are awake to get together and be with other people who are like-minded. And I mean, you know, there's other objectives as well, but you know, being awake, it can be isolating for a lot of people. I hear it a lot. You know, I can't get my family on board. You know, I hate it at work, and you know, I can't get any of my neighbors to understand that, you know, Romney is not any different than Obama.
Yeah, it really is isolating. It's the best way to put it. You know, I was thinking as you were saying that, it's like so wonderful we have the internet and can at least connect with each other through there and find people who are like-minded. Yeah,
that otherwise a lot of people might go postal. They didn't have the internet as an outlet.
I'm addicted to Skype and Daily Poll. Those are the two places where I tend to go to get out of the isolationism.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've obviously been working very hard on this on Paul Festival. A lot of things have come together. You know, I told the story earlier about our little fight with the RNC and what it took to get the venue, and how fun that was. But you know, when you look at this festival and what we're doing, what are you looking forward to most there at the festival?
You know, just celebrating, showing our numbers, because I really think that you know, we've been shut out of the process all the way through. It wasn't as bad this election as it was last election. So people who have come on board this election don't have the comparison the way that we do. But it's still pretty bad. I mean, you know, now they're not going to let him speak, you know, at the convention after all of this. And I just think it motivates me even more to get people to Tampa, because they need to see our numbers. They need to see our power. And we can celebrate in unity at the festival. We can show that we're peace-loving, fun-loving people getting together for a cause in honor of the founding father of our movement. And then we can use the festival as a launching pad for what we're going to do after this election. I mean, if Ron Paul, if the miracle doesn't happen, then this is it for him. He is retiring from the political arena. And what happens to the movement? Does the movement fade away because Ron Paul is not in office? No, I don't think so. I think we need to galvanize, and we need to set some objectives, and we need to move forward. And make some decisions about how we're going to affect change in our country. Because if we don't, then, you know, we'll all be sorry. And you know, I'm a mother and a grandmother. I have 4 grandchildren who I love dearly, and I'm doing this for my children and my grandchildren. And on my deathbed, I don't want to say I didn't do enough to try to make a better future for them. So that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's great to hear people say that this is more motivating. You know, the things that the RNC are doing. You know, Ron Paul obviously won't be in politics most likely after this year, and the fact that to most people it's more motivating is very encouraging. And you know, I was telling the story earlier about talking to Dr. Paul this week and his thoughts on it too. And he feels the same way. I mean, he doesn't feel discouraged at all about the RNC and what's happening. I mean, I think he knew all this stuff would happen long before we did.
Right.
And he is very encouraged at the grassroots movement and what we become today, and how much we've grown and how much we are growing. And right. So, you know, I think it's very encouraging to hear that. Do you have any speakers or performers that you're looking forward to seeing or meeting over, you know, any particular one?
Well, I love them all. I mean, some of them I haven't met yet, this time around. So I'm looking forward to meeting, Sheriff Mack and Larry Pratt and I don't know. I hate it when you ask me questions like that because my mind goes blank. I can't get off and I'll go, oh, I should have said so-and-so. But I mean, there's just a ton of them. I mean, it's gonna. I mean, I cannot believe how this is all coming together finally. Because after all this work, I mean, we started this in February, and we laid the groundwork, and it took 50 plus hours a week. Every rules that we've overcome, and it's finally coming together. And we're heading towards the goal line, and it feels great. It really does. I'm excited about it, and I'm looking forward to all the different aspects of it. Like, for example, we're going to have a Liberty for Kids area, and children can come under the age of 12 for free. So it's going to be very family oriented during the day, and they'll be, we're going to have all kinds of kids stuff that you typically see at a festival with balloons and clowns and face painting and dunking machines and air jumps and slides and petting zoos, and the older kids are going to have video games and things like that. So it'll be really great for the kids during the day, very family oriented. We're also going to have a section where we're going to do screenings for people who petition to have their documentaries seen, and that area will also serve as a possible seminar area for anyone who intends to, who would like to put on, a mini seminar on the Constitution or what have you. And we'll have a book signing section for our speakers who have books and CDs and things to sell, so that when they are finished speaking, they'll have their own table and people can go and meet them and, get their books autographed and get pictures and things like that. Of course, we'll have all our vendors, and because we're going to have Expo Hall, which has the stage, it's indoor air conditioning, which is needed, in Tampa that time of year. It holds 10,000 people, and then the adjoining building, which is Entertainment Hall, is where we'll be housing our vendors, and that we can get about 100, 150 booths in there, maybe more. Although we do want to, have room for our little matinee screening. And then we're going to have, a section for the VIPs. They're going to have their own section in the mezzanine part of the expo hall. And so there's going to be a lot of fun stuff. We're working on getting some comedians, and we're going to have a beer garden and a food court. And and then this was a suggestion from a supporter. Outside, one of our best Ron Paul supporters owns US Tents in Tampa, big tent and equipment supply company, and he's going to meet with me when I do the site tour of the fairgrounds in about 10 days or so, and we're going to organize how to do the outside where the beer garden is going to be in the food court. And what we're kind of thinking of doing is situating a small stage in between them. At the suggestion of a supporter, and having open mic, with some seating, so that, and then of course this will all be under tenting, and we'll have fans and things so people don't swelter out there, and then people can just get in line and come up and just share their thoughts with everyone. So that gets the crowd involved too. And then in the evening, it'll switch to more of a party festival atmosphere, and we'll have some comedians, and one guy that we have in mind that we're working on is kind of raunchy, but that's okay. It'll be at night, so the children will be home already. And so we'll just convert from a family-oriented atmosphere during the day to a more festive, fun, atmosphere, party atmosphere at night. And then on Sunday, because Ron's having his event, what we're going to do is we're going to open up with a beautiful Sunday morning worship service, and Chuck Baldwin is going to be offering that service, and we'll have beautiful music. It'll be inspiring. Dr. Paul's campaign is going to be furnishing buses for the delegates after the Sunday morning worship service to take them to their special entrance into his event. And then when his event is, as that happens, the people who stay back from his event, and then a lot of them will be, you know, Tampa locals, because we're going to be, you know, promoting this in the area too to the locals, and they're not going to be necessarily, you know, supporters of Ron Paul, and they might not be awake yet. So what we're doing is we're going to simulcast Ron's event on a big screen in Expo Hall, you know, during the day, and we won't have speakers or probably not music and things like that during his simulcast.
Yeah, that is just, there's all the reason in the world.
But it'll get to be exposed to the message. So it serves a dual purpose. Not only will we be preaching to the choir, you know, during this event, but we'll also be, you know, bringing people in from the local area, and they'll get to experience what it's like to be in our, you know, a part of this great thing that we're all a part of right now. So, and I mean, and then after that, you know, people are going to be Ronvoing out, you know, for Ron's event, and then Ronvoing back to our event, and then we're going to have our grand finale. And we're still, you know, we want to announce that and make a big splash, so we're still in the planning, we're still in the works. We don't want to give too many details about who all is going to be involved in that just yet.
Yeah, I understand that. It's going to be big. First of all, some things came across the chat you probably missed, but you obviously have some fans from the For Liberty video that you forgot to mention you were in.
Oh, oh yeah.
And somebody else wanted to know, what is your favorite book that you've got on your bookshelf back there?
Uh-oh, Bryan, you froze.
Are you there?
Oh, yeah.
You froze up a little. Did you hear the favorite book question?
The what?
Somebody asked, what is your favorite book on your bookshelf back there?
Oh.
Behind you.
I have too many favorites. Let me see if I can give you a good idea. I don't know. This doesn't even begin to. I mean, I don't know.
The children's area and activity area. Somebody asked about that earlier. I told them I was going to let you talk about that in detail because I have no clue. So.
Is there a specific question?
Not specific. I know you covered it a little bit. Is there, you know, is there games? Is there rides? What kind of things are happening at the children's activity area? Well,
some of the things that we've been looking into are apparently there's these great big trailers that they bring in, and they're spacious, and they have a bunch of video games in them. So that's one thing. We also are going to have air jumps and air slides, and we're going to have dunking machines. So we thought we'd get a couple of, we'd like to get Ben Bernanke there, and we'd like to get Obama there, and we'd like to get Romney there, and they can sit in the dunking machine, and we can all throw balls and get them dunked. And then we're planning on a petting zoo and or pony rides. I think they're also checking into a reptilian zoo, which will come out, and then they, you know, kind of give instruction to the kids about the different reptiles and stuff. And there's face painting, and there's even one of the ladies who's doing the face painting is even going to do, you know, the temporary tattoos, and she's got templates and everything for the Revolution logo and for the Paul Festival logo. So if people want to have temporary tattoos done, you know, of the different movement logo type things, that'll be there. And then, of course, cotton candy and snow cone and vendors that sell toys and probably some, you know, pantomime skits. You know, Christine has all that wrapped up. That she's our team leader for the children's activities, and she's formulating everything right now. But it'll be really nice. And of course, you know, it's children under the age of 12 are free. So. Yeah,
you know, I keep forgetting to mention that when I promote this ticket drive today. You know, I keep telling everybody to go over and get their tickets, and I forget to mention that their kids 12 and under are free. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah.
Kurt, do you have any questions for Deb?
Yeah, the locals will definitely like that too. Someone has a question?
You know, a lot of I'm sure we have a lot of Liberty people, you know, on here, but I'm sure we have some new people too. So, is my mic too loud at all?
I can hear you. It's it sounds canned. You know, I'm. Go ahead. And now I'm not hearing anything.
I think he froze for a second. There you go. You're back.
Just let me know.
Okay, there he is. You're back.
Okay. Okay. So, is my microphone level fine?
Yes, seems to be fine.
Bryan?
Yep, everything seems to be fine.
Okay. So, just, for maybe if we have a new out there, they might look at you and go like, oh, she must be this super wealthy person who just went out and did this event and stuff like that. But, I mean, just kind of tell people, you're just kind of like one of us, right? I mean, you just decided to do something and see what it took to make things go right. I just was interested in hearing a little bit of your story. What made you make the decision to get this festival, and how you created the team, and everything else about that,
Well, it wasn't like all of a sudden I came up with this great idea. I mean, this was something that formulated from the group of us, and we just, actually what I did was I put people together that were thinking along the same lines. Different people that I knew in the movement, because I mean that's how things kind of work. It's really kind of universal. Everybody, like-minded people kind of start thinking, generally around the same. And around that time, there were people going, we need to do something in Tampa, or not. No, they weren't saying that, because we started out thinking we were going to do it in Nevada actually, but people were saying we need to do something during, to help the delegates and to get along and promote his campaign. So initially it kind of started out that way. And Jay Kim, who is one of our organizers, one of the directors, came up with the idea on Daily Paul about, getting the celebrities who support Ron Paul involved. And Bryan and Steffi, who are on the board at the same time, were considering, and Tom joined them, we're considering doing another march, or another Revolution March. So, and I knew this because I was in touch with these people. And so I thought, well, why don't we just combine everybody's efforts and, form a new team along with some of the old team and just make this happen. And so, and that's kind of my forte is, bringing people together and looking at the big picture and filling in the holes. And that's kind of what my job is here. But yeah, this was a joint effort.
But it's not like you have some huge promotion planning company where you have some corporate office somewhere, right? You're basically doing this in your home, right?
Oh no, we're all non-paid.
No?
There's no corporation behind us. We are authentic grassroots. That's who we are. We are authentic grassroots, non-paid, putting this on because we love our country and we love our families. We want a future. We love Ron Paul and his message. We love everybody who loves individual liberty. I mean, that's who we want. We're not going to exclude anybody who believes in that philosophy. We take guff from time to time because of the people that we've invited to this event, and it's hard to understand because we're not all always going to agree on everything, and we're not all always going to like each other. I mean, you don't like everyone in your family, and you don't like everyone at work, and sometimes you don't like a couple of your neighbors, but you still learn to coexist and get along because you have some of the same goals. And so we all have to kind of think that way, in this movement. We're very individualistic, those of us who are the hardcore activists. And we do butt heads, but we want the same things. And so, we eventually achieve it.
But that's my point for, let's say, somebody
go ahead.
sitting, in their living room, just like the rest of us, watching all the, our little video chat here and realizing, wow, she came up with this idea and it just kind of, it snowballed, it started basically in someone's kitchen table in their living room or just as an afterthought somewhere, but, all of us can do this. And I think that's the whole point of the Liberty Movement is that each one of us has our own abilities. They're unique. We have our own responsibilities, and we can do something like you've done here. Every single one of us can come up with some idea to try and promote the movement and Ron Paul and just make it grow.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about what Christina says, and I totally agree with her when she says this, that we need to make more leaders. and these, this could be a spring for them for that. I mean, when I think about it, I mean, in general, people are sheeple. I mean, we've all known that. It's even in the Bible, Jesus is the shepherd. And, I mean, so we do sort of, fall into this herd mentality, which is one of the reasons why the masses can be so easily manipulated by, an establishment like what we've got right now in the government. So one of the things that we have to do as people who have awakened to the truth and have unplugged is we've got to make leaders out of other people who awaken, and so that they can go back into their communities and make leaders within their own communities. And it's just leaders making more leaders, really, is how you're going to make the change. And so that's kind of how I feel about it.
Well, education is such a, that is the thing that drives this and everything else. And that's why, personally, I live in the Tampa area, so it's going to be easy for me to go. And I got a van, and I'm planning on, when I'm there, trying to drag as many people as I can. And that's what I would maybe make a suggestion, is that, whoever's going, try and grab somebody who's new, who's just maybe hearing about this or is maybe open to it, and bring them here. Because the one thing I've learned in all my years of talking to people about stuff like this is you don't actually realize the person you're talking to might be the next Ron Paul. He might be a next leader. He might be a guy who just one day, you could talking to some guy and he talks to his teenage son, and his teenage son goes, "Oh my God, this is wrong." And next thing you know, he's all over. You just don't know what match you're lighting underneath, how big is the candle you're lighting, and so it's always important to talk. And that's why I think into this event we should all of us try to bring somebody new to it.
Yeah, great idea. And don't forget, we have the Ron boys too. So if people can't get there in their own vehicles or can't fly or whatever, Susan has done a phenomenal job. As always, this woman is unbelievable in what she can accomplish. She says she sleeps, but I don't know when. And she's so organized. And if you go on the website and you study a little bit what she's been able to accomplish for everybody in all corners of the country to get to this event at a very, very affordable rate. And if you talk to people who have taken the Ron boys in the past, you make lifetime friends with those people when you commute with them for such a long time, and you have a real connection with them. And there's some really great stories out there, some great testimonies from people who have taken the Ron boys in the past. And then a lot of times they just can't. She organizes not only blocks of rooms for the goers and the speakers and talent, but she also organizes campsites. And so you can you can pitch a tent. There's all kinds of packages out there that you can that she has arranged for people. So really there's no excuse to not go. And we really do need to go. We need to be there, because it's going to blow their minds when they see the tens of thousands of people who support Ron Paul. No other what other candidate has this kind of passion behind him? None. There's a reason for that.
Second.
There's a reason that we feel the way we do, because we understand and we recognize the direction the country is taking. And we know that he's the one that has, he is the one that has the true message. And it's been consistent for the 30 years that he's been in office. And it's our job now that our eyes have been opened to, move along with his legacy, as his legacy.
And if you think about that simple fact, he's been at this for 30, 35 years. How many times could he have just given up and thrown in the towel and said, screw this, this is too much work, Right. And I think we've all seen this when we've tried to do our own establishment and create, but, most people, maybe they don't know this, maybe they're all over the place, but living in the Tampa area, some of your battles have made the press here. That's how I learned about you and the Ron Paul Fest, so maybe you could just share a little bit of when you were just a week away from securing the thing, right? Didn't you find out? Didn't the fairgrounds come to you and say, yeah, we all set, and then like a week or two later say, no, they put some sort of counter-intention, some sort of stop there that you discovered was part of the RNC?
Yeah,
My point is some obstacles to do this.
I'm sorry?
My point is that you've had to overcome some serious obstacles to get this done.
Oh, yeah, and that wasn't the only one. There were some other, I mean, those of us who are planning this thing really need to get together and write a book about this, because we've had some, the RNC was nothing compared to some of the stuff we've been through. And I don't want to sound like a whiner and a complainer, so I'm not going to get into it too much. But yeah, the RNC, I mean, typically what they'll do, what any, convention will do during their, convention, I'm saying that wrong, but they go around, when they pick a town, they go around and they can contract with all the major venues so that they can pick and choose who they want to use for their events. And then everything that's left over after they've picked and choose, they start to release. Well, they never picked the fairgrounds for anything, and we contacted the fairgrounds and the RNC to get permission, because the fairgrounds told us we're under contract with the COA, the Committee on Arrangements, and so we have to let them know that you're interested. So in the very beginning, we let them know that we were interested, and then the fairgrounds said as soon as they give us the go-ahead to start coordinating with you, we will. So, and that was at the end of March, and then I think it was the end of April. The fairgrounds said, okay, we can start coordinating with you. So then we've got our ducks in a row. We started letting people know we were planning on having it there. We found out how much it was going to cost us. We did the logistics, this, that, and the other, and we were finally ready to sign on the dotted line. And then the fairgrounds finds out from the RNC that they're not going to release, and they won't give us a real reason why. And so by that time we had heard, no, we hadn't heard this yet. At that time we didn't know. So we just decided to launch our own public pressure campaign against the RNC to get them to release it. And at the same time, the fairgrounds, it hurts them too, because they lose revenue if we were to move somewhere else. And so at one point we got so desperate we decided we were just going to have the event out of town in Orlando at another fairgrounds. So I called Terry Parnell at State Florida Fairgrounds in Tampa, and I told her, I said, look, we're going to sign with another venue tomorrow. I'm sorry. We just can't hold on anymore. Because I had been telling her we can't hold on anymore. We lost our window of opportunity to get some great acts at this event because they booked so far in advance because of what the RNC did to us. And, Ron Paul supporting big acts, we lost because of this. And so she scrambled that day, and she got a bunch of people involved, some movers and shakers in Tampa. And we went on a call with them. Our board went on a call with these people, and they told us that they were going to do their utmost to get this thing released. And so they managed to do it. They managed to pull it off the next day. And during that meeting, we found out, I think it was that meeting, we found out that one of the reasons that this thing was being delayed was because the Romney's campaign had heard that we were Ron Paul people. And they didn't like that. They didn't want to be upstaged. And so they were resisting allowing us to have the event. So,
and that was
at what point did you...
I'm sorry?
That's just one last question. It was like, when did you realize that your estimation of effort maybe wasn't enough and you needed to start not pulling punches, or you needed to put a little bit more force and effort or concentrated work into this?
Into getting them to release the fairgrounds?
Just trying to get the event off. My whole point is just being that, anything worth doing is worth fighting for. And I always find that the best things that we're trying to do are going to, we're just going to meet a counter intention from the people, the vested interests. So what I'm saying is, at one point, it seems to me you realize, wow, there's a lot of,
resistance,
people against us. I'm going to have to up my game.
Well, when it comes to the establishment, it was at that point. I mean, we realized, that the committee on arrangements was not going to let us sign, and we knew we were, that we may have to go somewhere else to have the event. So, like I said, we just launched a public political campaign, public pressure campaign against the RNC, and we got the media involved, and we got Ron Paul media involved, and spread it around like wildfire, and applied public pressure to them, and at the same time the fairgrounds did their part too. We've always had a very, very good relationship with the fairgrounds. Those are some of the greatest. You people in Tampa, everybody that I've met from Tampa is so awesome. I love you people in Tampa. I really do. I'm so glad. I mean, I'm scared there might be a hurricane, but but other than that, the residents of Tampa who are supporters, and even the people at the fairgrounds are just awesome. Absolutely awesome.
You should actually know, in the 17 years I've lived there, there has never been a hurricane that actually hit Tampa. They've all gone around. We have a special protective zone around Tampa. It never gets by hurricanes, just so you know.
Well, that's great. Well, I've been praying to God, no hurricanes, please.
That's excellent. We also now have James Grundler on here from Golden State. So say hi, everyone.
How you doing? All the way from Los Angeles, California.
Yep. If you've got the browser open over there, if you can go ahead and close that, we can get the echo when you do it. So close your browser with the.
You guys take care.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. It's always good, and maybe you'll come back on later. Join us again.
See you later.
All righty, James. How's it going today?
It's going good. Am I getting this right? Are you still getting the echo?
No, we don't have the echo. Let me see if I can give you a little volume here. A little low, but other than that, everything is good. James, for those who don't know, is in Golden State. Tell us a little bit about yourself, James. How you got started in Golden State, where it all came from?
Well, Golden State was an inception of I guess, after the demise of another band that I was in called Palo Alto, and actually fell short of the mark because of the way the industry was being ran and the big corporations of the record labels and stuff. We fell squashed under the weight of the industry, and thus it began to fall apart and kind of wandered aimlessly for a little while before I put something else together, because I wasn't sure what was going to be the right path to go down. And then slowly but surely things started working out, and put some songs together, and really realized that the tools are out there. I have the experience, and I got the tools and the songs to do it, that we could actually do this without getting too involved with a big major label and the corporations, and that's what brought us here today. I put the band together and rocking and rolling now.
Yeah. Is there? Do you have a way there you can turn the mic up a little bit? People are saying they're having a hard time hearing you in the chat room. I don't know if you have a setting there where you can turn up on your end.
Let's see.
I've got you all the way up on my end here. All righty. Oh, is there? Nope. Now we have no volume. Let's see what we can do here. Let me check any settings over here. Okay. Are you on the push to talk, or do you have the open mic? No, you can see the. You can see you talking, but can't hear you. Nope, still nothing. What you might want to do is stop broadcasting and come back in and make sure you select open mic and keep that open and see if that changes it. You want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll get James back on and start this conversation over. You familiar with Golden State, Kurt?
Not really, no. I've been kind of out of the California indie rock scene for a while, but I've just heard the name, but that's about it. I've got a brother who's in the entertainment business, so he tells me a little bit about what's going on. So, but I'm looking forward to hearing about all the different artists who are supporting Ron Paul. I think it's real important, especially for the fest. That's the whole basic idea: music and freedom bring people together.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a lot of good songs out there. I think I heard about them a couple years ago through Jordan Page and some of the other people, and yeah, you go to YouTube, check them out. They do got some good songs, without a doubt. See if we can get them back in. We've, technology's great with everything we got going on with China Chat, but sometimes we have either video issues or volume issues with this kind of thing, and there's so much involved with it.
We have engineers.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
But I met these guys. For guys you don't know, they had one of their shows was featured on Discovery Channel. If you ever saw Deadliest Catch. It's kind of a fun reality show about these guys going out and getting the crabs off the coast of Alaska. There, I know they had one of their songs on there.
Is this working here?
Are you with us, James?
Is that better for you?
It seems to be a little better on my end. We'll wait to see what the chat says, but yeah, so far it does seem to be a little better over here.
I got the push to talk thing set up, so.
Okay, yeah, as long as you stay close to the computer and the mic there, I think we can hear you. What instrument do you play in Golden State, James?
I'm the singer-songwriter, and I play the guitar.
Okay. How many members of the band are there?
There's 4 members in the band. And as you were saying earlier about the Deadliest Catch, yeah, that was a big opportunity for us, having the song during the memorial episode of Captain Phil, who passed away actually on the show. It was a really big moment.
Yeah, I actually didn't know you guys were. I'm familiar with the show. I didn't know you guys had a song on there. That's pretty awesome.
We got songs everywhere, Bryan.
Yes, you do. That is true. I know you guys have been around for a while. Like I said, I've heard of you a couple years ago. Who all are the members of your band?
Well, we got myself, and we have Mark Baggio, the lead guitar player. We have Cameron Waters, he's the drummer. And we also have a young man by the name of Elias Reedy. As a matter of fact, he used to be the lead guitar player in Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, who is performing at the Paul Fest, which is pretty fun.
It's a good lineup there. I've been asking this of all the guests all day long. It's kind of been the universal question they ask everybody going into it. But do you have a story of when you first heard about Ron Paul? When you really got into Ron Paul?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I got actually into Ron Paul about a year before he ran for office on the 2008 elections, and I was just really blown away with what he had to say. I mean, I was raised up, with having great morals and values and things like that, and a great family, and I just really gravitated toward what he was saying, and I believed in it, and it really just carried on from there. And he doesn't sway from his beliefs, and I respect that, and I think a lot of other people should do the same, and I think that's what's kept us in the mix with Ron Paul.
Yeah, it's amazing. I would think that more people would demand their local politicians and their national politicians to be more like Ron Paul with that honesty and consistency, but it definitely doesn't seem to happen that way.
It's like being honest and truthful doesn't seem to be cool anymore. You got to be a complete cheat, a liar, and a thief to be cool with the kids these days.
That is so accurate. It's so simple, but so accurate. It just seems to me if you and you have to have the buzzwords down. You have to be able to say just the right, sentence here and there to get everybody's attention. Put on a custom-tailored suit and just say the right things.
Oh yeah, create the hysteria. People love it.
Yeah.
There-
When
there was-
go ahead.
I was going to say there was actually an episode of 30 Rock on the other night where the the one character was in danger of losing his position because they were going to find out how clean he was, because he built his own reputation on being this philanderer and unethical guy in the music industry, and they were going to find out his neighbor was writing a book on how clean he was. So yeah, I mean, you find that anymore, it's with the dumbing down of America, you can find that people are accepting lower values and ethics and morals, and then it's kind of hip and cool if somebody's part criminal, part gangster.
Right, exactly.
So, are you guys currently out playing around the country anywhere?
Well, we just got done with a U.S. tour, and I see some people on the message board there. We met while we were on the road. Signed a few of their posters and stuff when we were in Chicago and everything like that. But we did a U.S. tour, and it was phenomenal. We had a huge turnout. Most of the places we played were at capacity, which was really, I didn't expect that at all, and it was fantastic. So now, we're back in L.A. We're playing around again, and the crazy thing is we were trying to get this whole Paul Fest thing set up about 3-4 months ago to play at the Paul Fest thing, and we were in the discussions, and then all of a sudden we just didn't hear anything back from anybody. And I think it was during the time when Deborah was talking about when the RNC was really shutting down the whole venue situation for the big Paul Fest, and I think that's when we lost our contact.
Yeah, we did lose some contact with people during that period, and we had some team members that weren't necessarily following up at their jobs as well that we had to work on. It took a while to discover that, and replace them with people who would follow up, and that's the thing you get with an all volunteer group sometimes. Definitely is. When you guys are out on the road and people come up to you and ask you to sign stuff, what do they generally say to you? What's the most common thing you hear from your fans out there?
Well, we get a lot of the fans saying thank you so much. I mean, there was there's this amazing family that we saw. We first met them in Washington when we did the D.C. the March on the White House, and there was this amazing mother who came up to us and said, her son had died. He was working in the explosives department of the military, and he died obviously during that whole situation. And she said her younger son was thinking about joining the military and going off to battle, and she was just really concerned about it, and So we left the situation. She was very thankful of the song because the song we have is called Bombs, and so she really connected to the song. And then when we saw her in Chicago, she brought her children along with her, and she said after the show that her son said, "You know what? I'm not going." He ripped the dog tags off. He's like, "I'm not going." And it was after the concert, so it was a beautiful moment. It was really, really extraordinary situation. So we get a lot of that goes on, which is pretty incredible.
That's excellent. Who is Golden State's influences? What bands out there have influenced Golden State?
Well, I have to say, majority bands that influence Golden State are the bands that are people that aren't afraid to write a song on a big anthemic level. That aren't afraid to try to rally the world, try to bring us all together on the same page and send a message out. I think that's a problem with a lot of the bands today and a lot of artists. They try to keep it such a narrow focus on what they're doing that they miss all the rest of this. They kind of alienate the rest of the world. And I think that bands that can bring everybody on the same page is really what influences it.
Yeah, any one band in particular, or that you would?
I mean, there's so many of them. I mean, I was a big fan of Kiss when I was a kid. I mean, I was a big fan of U2, Echo and the Bunnymen. I love the Beach Boys, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. all of that. It's great.
Yeah, a lot of great bands in that list there. I mean, I think they've influenced a lot of people out there. When you guys go out, do people respond to the political side of Golden State? Is that something that people really respond to?
I think what's exciting and interesting about what we do is that we write songs that are we don't try to write a song like a lot of political bands that you hear, and a lot of the bands that perhaps will be at Paul Fest or that do things about marches and Liberty Fest and things like that. A lot of them are so on the nose, and they kind of beat you over the head with the message so abruptly that they're missing the point that they're missing all the other people that haven't woken up yet. You're trying to influence. You're not trying to preach to the choir. You're trying to influence people that don't really know yet, and allow them to catch on to what's going on. So you have to be pretty eloquent in how you deliver the song, and the message. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We don't want to hit you and beat you over the head of this is what it is, because most people just turn off. And so it's better to allow them to find out what the message is themselves, and it just makes it that much more of an opportunity for them.
Yeah. With people who have not heard of Golden State before or heard your music, where would you direct them to go to get the feel for Golden State? Do you have a website, a place you'd send them to first?
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, or you can go to our webpage, which is www.iamgoldenstate.com. I, meaning me, mgoldenstate.com.
No, it's iamgoldenstate.com?
Yeah.
All right. We'll paste that down there in the chat as well for everybody to see and get them going there. It's always great, this whole festival with, all the great bands that we have on there. Have you had a chance to go onto the website, the different speakers and bands that we have lined up?
I just did. Well, Gigi just sent me an email yesterday, and actually, she was the one that kind of helped us start to facilitate this whole thing about possibly getting out there and performing for everybody, and we saw the lineup, and it looks great, and we want to be part of it, So.
Any speaker in particular that you would be looking forward to seeing and meeting at the festival?
I think Tom Woods is a great speaker. He's a lot of fun, And Adam Kokesh is always a fun speaker for the kids and stuff, and it just seems like being back with your old family again when you're hanging out with those people. So it's a good feeling. So I enjoy everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time, and
James.
Go ahead.
For sure.
I just have a question for you. Was being a writer myself, I know sometimes you get inspired. Odd hours, you wake up at 3 in the morning, have to write something down on a napkin. Have you ever been listening to anything Ron Paul or anything in this movement where suddenly some concept or words hit you and all of a sudden words started flowing out of you, like something just inspired you to suddenly write a song?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this being part of this movement has been an inspiration in itself. And I know that subconsciously, while I am writing songs, the ideas of being awake and battling against the forces of darkness or what have you, and those elements do come out. They pour out onto the pages, and then when you're done listening to the song back, you're just kind of in amazement, like, wow, I didn't realize that was what I was talking about. It's an interesting process for sure.
We're sharing all those moments. It's like what one moment kind of stands out in your mind where suddenly, boom, like some words or some idea hit you and just the flow of creativity just sparked out of you.
I will say the song Bombs, that in particular was a song, that came about that way. I was writing a tune, and I just was going on this feeling of the music, and it was really great, and I was writing the lyrics and stuff, and then at the end of it, I listened to it back, and I just couldn't believe that the theme that was really talking back to me as I was listening to it, and it was End This War, and it talks about the whole battle between a relationship, and that song particularly was the one that really struck out big time.
Tell me also, I just out of curiosity, how in the world did you land the theme song for the royal wedding?
They came to us, man.
Come on, that's a...
They came to us, and I'll tell you, it's a great way to go through the back door, you know what I mean? We're trying to influence people all over the world, and what a great way.
Everybody in the...
So what was the little secret story?
I'm sorry?
I was just curious, what was the sort of little secret? I mean, did you just have somebody who happened work for the production team there, hear a song of yours on YouTube, and call you guys up?
You know, it just happened. Somebody, because we have fans over in the UK, and it just so happened that somebody who was connected to the operation, I think the BBC, who put that whole thing together, they heard the song and they loved it, and they proposed it to the actual royal family because they had to get them to sign off on it, and it became the track for their whole commercial of announcing the wedding, the royal wedding. It was really kind of funny.
That's cool. And I also was curious, like, you know, especially in this day and age of manufactured pop stars in LA and, you know, what are your guys' concerns about, like, okay, if I'm going out in the political wind, because, you know, growing up, what's the polite thing your parents say? Don't talk to people about their religion and politics, right? But then you're going right out there and getting a little bit more political. Did you run into anybody saying, ooh, don't rock the boat, dude, don't do that, you know, you're risking your career, blah, blah, blah? Did you just say, screw you guys, and just you followed your heart? Or what was going on there when you guys decided to go a little bit more that direction?
Well, I think the direction is still the same direction that we've always gone in. We're just trying to make great music and just trying to, you know, allow people to enjoy great music, whatever their beliefs are, you know. And I think that we really just caught fire with you know, the people in this movement. They caught it, they got it quickly, and they understood it, and we're happy enough to join in with the situation, because I mean, I believe I have the same beliefs, and I will say, you know, when we started going down this road, my parents were a little concerned because, you know, you're going against the grain, and that's always a struggle. Every time it's a new situation and you go against the grain, it's a scary, unsettling situation, obviously, until it becomes the majority. Because right now it's still the minority, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to break that and make it the majority.
Were any of your bandmates concerned? I mean, were you worried about any kind of disconnection going on in your own group, or were you guys all on the same page going, yeah, this feels right, we're doing this together as a team, let's go? Well,
I think it all goes back to rock and roll, you know, from the very foundation of rock and roll. I mean, it's a rebelliousness against, you know, some sort of oppression, and I think that it fits in the same mold. So everybody was like, yeah, we're a rock and roll band, let's rock and roll, let's do it. It worked out.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing all those stories, man. I love hearing all that. You know, when people have, you know, what I like to call the red pill moment, right?
Yeah.
And the consequences of that through your life, you know?
I see a lot of people in the chat room were talking about "End This War." Is there anything in particular with that song that you could tell a story about? What inspired it to be written?
Song. It's this is what's great, is that the movement have taken the song "Bombs" and they basically just renamed it "End This War." Obviously, because we say that term in the song, that's where everybody sings along and really chants out the song. So it's called "Bombs" is the name of the song, and that's the song I was talking about. How it really just kind of spoke back to me after it was written, and really kind of said, "This is what the message is." So it's an exciting song, and I really enjoy when the crowd gets involved in that song. We had a great show in D.C. when it was Adam and Tatiana and Jordan Page. They all got up on stage and we sang different parts of the song, different verses of the song, and the audience joined in. It was a really spectacular moment. It was a lot of fun.
It seems to be a pretty popular song amongst everybody. I see it coming up in the chat room a lot. People are posting the video and everything in there.
You know, the kids love it.
Yeah, exactly. James, we got some other guests coming on. We got Adam Kokesh coming up next, and we really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to talk to us. That is IamGoldenState.com. Is that correct? Is that where you want everybody to go to?
Golden
If you have not checked out Golden State, I suggest you do it. Go over to IamGoldenState.com. Great band. They jam. They really do have some great songs, and we really appreciate you being part of this with us, James.
Thank you so much. Tell Adam I said hi.
I sure will. Have a good one.
All right, James, thanks.
All righty. Hello, Christina.
Hello.
I'm just waiting for Adam Kokesh to hit the start broadcasting button so we can get him on here.
Great.
And,
a little more alive with some food and some mate, tea.
Yeah, I bet. After Adam, we have Peter Schiff coming on, so the lineup is just starting to grow here. And then after Peter